LGBTQ clergy are in the forefront of healing the wounds that religion has created around sexuality.
The dominant discourse is that it's the gays versus God. And part of what we've been able to do is to dismantle that by showing that there's actually a variety of religious views in relationship to the LGBT community, and many communities of faith and clergy support and affirm the LGBT, not only our right to marry, but our humanity. And they feel that it's a matter of justice that we be treated equally.
Growing up, I was the largest proponent for heterosexual marriages, and at the same time, trying to drive my car off a cliff.
I came out when I was 13 in a small rural town in Northern California. The community were really letting us know that they didn't care whether we lived or died.
We were raised, as the saying goes, to love the sinner, but not the sin. And I have to say my family has always loved me.
I'm like, well, how about not considering it a sin, even? How about just loving?
When I felt called to be a pastor,
So please join me in our prayer of confession.
the answer was reparative therapy. And the whole thing was trying to teach me how to, in a sense, stuff who I was so that I would be okay with God. And the result of that, I ended up getting married to a woman, having kids, and I was a conservative Christian pastor for almost 20 years. It really took my life kind of beginning to unwind for me to say something, has to be done.
What I don't know if people realize that when they see their children coming out and they are just like, well, how can you break away from these beliefs that they hold so dearly? We're not easily breaking away. It's still very strong inside of us.
These are real human beings that bleed. These are real human beings that have emotions. These are real human beings who we have to show compassion. If our texts say we should be compassionate and merciful and seek justice, then how do you do that?
What came up for me was a wonderful project called the Family Acceptance Project. Parents more and more and more now are realizing that whatever they think their scriptures or their religion teaches them, accepting their children for who they are is critical to save their life, because no parent wants to see their child suffering. It used to be, oh my God, you're gay, you're gonna have such a hard life. But now it's like, oh my God, your parents aren't accepting you, you're gonna have such a hard life. Mm-hmm. What a total reframe. Yes. What a radical reframe.
I was called to help people learn about each other and to help queer teenagers that are having those people pray for their souls, let them know that the salvation of soul is in the hand of a loving God who accepts them for who they are and who they were born to be.
And I have people contacting me all the time, asking for that sort of help of, will I make it? It's been wonderful to assure people that you're okay. You're exactly who God created you to be. I mean, it is one of my greatest joys now to be a part of that.
Oh, sisters, let's go down, down.
I was pleasantly surprised that we have 8 openly gay moms worldwide now.
Somebody needs to update Wikipedia.
Yeah, definitely.
It says 3.
Yeah, well, they definitely need to update it.
Today there are 200 queer Jewish clergy and student clergy. So the numbers are growing and the integration into the mainstream Jewish world is expanding. Do either of you have any idea how many LGBTQ Christian clergy there are? Thousands, right?
There are thousands.
And our words carry so much weight.
Blessed be the infinite one who directs the universe.
People were coming to rabbis and ministers and other clergy, not to judges, to get married. And what they kept saying over and over again was, you have no idea what this means to us. As if our words of support and blessing were lifting years of oppression.
I decided this is how I have to teach theology. I can't teach it any other way because I've got to address HIV, and to address HIV, I've got to deal with sexuality and religion. I mean, that was like, this is the place to do this. It was like the hardest thing I'd ever done, but I was like, I have to do this. I knew also that it constituted coming out.
That was the words, but Black Lives Matter.
It's really true that our words bring healing. What's also true is that our prophetic power can help bring justice to broader civil rights movements.
Affirm our conviction that religion and people of faith must prioritize this work.
What I'm here to say today is very simple. This is also your struggle.
When Eric Gardner died, and the cry, "I can't breathe,"
I can't breathe. I can't.
that went unheard, something clicked and changed forever in me. And I said, we have to do something.
Members of the clergy say we all need to be taking a stand for dignity of all people.
Freedom is coming. Freedom is coming. Freedom is coming. Oh, yes, I know.
And so we conclude by all saying, "Ooh," which is one of the divine names that contains within it all genders. I wanted to create and hold a space for queer people who wanted to do advanced studies in religion, theology, what have you. They are what I call scholartivists. They're really radical scholartivists. And they're doing all these things, and they're doing it some in ways that some might call traditional. They're all subverting everything. So if you think what this person's doing is traditional, then you're not catching all of it.
And we'd like to invite you to come forward and to share in God's love. Often people feel like they have to give up on God to be fully who they are. Mm-hmm. And so our role ritually can often be that place of healing, can be that place of deeper understanding and of acceptance.
I'm working with a family who their high school age child is transgender, and talking about what will it be like to have the name be changed at church, and then to actually have a ceremony where that name is officially changed and, in a sense, blessed by God and blessed by the congregation.
I got a call from a hospital social worker who asked me to come in and visit a young trans patient because they were contemplating suicide. Mm-hmm. And on this person's medical team was a nurse that refused to use the pronouns that this person preferred. And I was able to meet with this person and kind of get a sense of the problem. And we got that person removed from their medical team so that they only had really supportive, affirming people. And today, this person's a college graduate and it doesn't deal so much with depression, has really found a niche for themselves.
We're going to show how Islam in its heart is inclusive, is radically inclusive. That if there were the sexual identities that there are today, I think the early message of Islam would say, you're part of this, all right? Because how can you say La ilaha illallah? There's nothing that exists outside of Allah. Well, no trans people. Well, no this. Well, no that. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, shortly before he died, he gave his last khutbah, his last sermon. And in his last sermon, he says, you know, because you're this or that, you're not better one than the other.
During the high holidays, there's a traditional scripture that's to be read that is one of the clobber texts, Leviticus 18:22. So I unpacked it and I invited everyone who identified as LGBT to come up to the bima, to the place where the Torah was, and we had a chuppah, a canopy over them, and I offered them a blessing for the holiness of their gorgeous identity. And afterwards, a woman in her 60s comes up to me weeping and said, I never thought a rabbi would give me a blessing for being a lesbian. And I didn't even know the healing I had to do around the pain in the world, in my community. Because her appreciation healed my pain around all of those.
That was one of the amazing things when I walked into Panayor, and there was Rabbi Deb, and I was able to see a community of people who were very much in touch with God, who were very much in love with God, who were very compassionate, and see the teachings of this person impact everyone there.
I like to think of us as not being marginalized by the church or by the faith community, but rather on the prophetic edge. Because it's our movement, really, that is teaching the faith community how to be inclusive.